The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah, online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
And good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, number 407 on deck here. There was a lot of Derby action over the weekend. It was almost tough to keep up with everything, with the results and coming in with parts and pieces and stuff, but we're going to do our best to cover everything end to end. There was a bunch of stuff that was happening here locally as well. The Yates County Fair down in Penn was this weekend, so that's always sort of the kickstart for our 3 weeks, where it's really busy for everybody. And then we're looking at Seneca County is this week, and then I think Ontario County is the week after that, right? So,
yeah, I believe so. And
I think I also think that Dunkirk got moved around a little bit, so they're going to be this week.
Sometime this week. I know I was actually talking with Jeremy Gulling. He's going up there to run. He said he's going up Sunday. So
Jeremy's going up that's cool.
My advice was to weld and then put more steel on it and then weld some more.
Right.
So he'll fit right in well up there.
I think it'll be good for him.
Yeah, it's all good.
Seems like a good fit. Thinking of Eric Remington and Lindsay. Lindsay's dad was given rather bleak forecast, and he ended up passing away earlier this week. So thinking of our friends out there in Dunkirk, and also, I think we spent a little bit of time talking about the situation with Bryce, but still seeing some memorials and tributes and such coming in for Bryce Baumgartner. So
we actually missed that. It was after the show.
That's right, because in
the parking lot.
Well, we're certainly thinking about him and his family as well, with his passing there last week as well. It was a busy one.
Not to change the subject quick, but did you see the post? I believe it was a counselor from school that put up about him.
No.
Oh, it was amazingly touching.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It was Chris Marquardt-esque. It was really. She did a beautiful job. He had really touched her as she had also touched him, and really. I mean, we've talked to Bryce a bunch, on and off the air. He met up with you guys in Utah once. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet him.
We met him out there a couple times.
Yeah, and was always a good dude. Definitely gone too soon.
I caught up with Dylan Lane, and we talked a little bit about the time that we all spent together out there, and almost got thrown out of our hotel. It was always good for
a few places, huh?
Yeah. It was a good time. An excellent time. Right here locally, Yates County Fair, Brian France came away with the win, and that was a pretty popular win across the board. Patrick Carrick got a win on the compact side of things, and I believe it was Danny Snyder got a win there as well. Brian pulled on the win. Cadillac looked great, and he had it was about a 10-minute feature, but for the last 6 minutes or so, he was locked in a battle with a guy who's got a really good season going for himself. Dale Randall ended up taking the car from Ohio and ran that down to second place. Stayed on all fours this time, which is a good start,
Good
But nonetheless, Brian coming away with the win in that one, and Brian's joining us here on the line. Brian, man, congratulations.
Thank you.
So just to kind of recap what happened out there, that was a heck of a fight to get left to pick. You didn't have a whole lot of choice there in the equation. At the end, it looked like in the video that was uploaded by Fueled by Haters and Nick Hagedorn, by keeping some close proximity there, it didn't let Dale get any of those big runs that he's come to be known so well for.
Yeah. Certainly was trying to avoid that at all costs, but, it was a battle for sure. I wasn't really 100% happy with how the car ran per se, but it got the job done. So
I'm wanting to remember that you got at least one more win out there at Yates County Fair in the years past.
Yeah, I actually thought about it. That was 8 years ago now already.
Was it really?
Wow.
Yep,
Jeepers.
2014, I believe.
That 2014 was the first year that Pat Carrick ran
Wow.
in derbies out there, and now he's won the last three. Excuse me, that's not right. He's won 3 times in the compacts out there.
He does. He always does well there. Yeah.
Yep, he won 17 and 18, and in 19 he was on his way to winning it, but they made sure that he didn't. And this was the first year that they've had a derby since all the COVID stuff, and they're building a little bit of traction back. Total Destruction was overseeing that one. It's good to have some of the local fairs back on track, and the crowd looked like it was outstanding.
Wow. Yeah, it was, and I was kind of taken back too because they were just a cheering, and I was real happy with that. It is nice to see some of these county fairs, kind of get with the times and be able to do the best they can.
The bone stock, I guess, is what you would call it, was a Snyder Fest. That was loaded down, just like you would typically see if we were to jump in the Wayback Machine and go back to the way things used to be.
Yeah, I was just thinking that literally as I was walking up, because you'd sent me the results, and I thought about Danny winning the Yates County, and the many stories I had heard from his dad, Big Dan Snyder, and Dougie telling about winning it at Yates and possibly being escorted out of Yates County by state troopers. Yeah, but it's, in all reality, I don't know if I've seen, 5 or 6 derbies at Yates County, but usually they're hard hitting, fast paced show. Nice long track, kind of runs downhill. So if you're going the one way, you get going faster, but, and honestly, I kind of forgot all about it. You and I talked a little bit, and I thought it was the week after Waterloo, but you're like, no, it's this week. And then, life just is crazy sometimes. And I can't remember who I talked to, but I talked to somebody Sunday, and they said that they asked if I knew if I'd went to Yates County, and I was like, nope, forgot all about it. But no, I've heard nothing but good stuff. I heard it was a good show, good turnout. So. It definitely, it's good to see the local fairs getting back on track, and our local guys being able to get out and do some smashing.
Where was that Cadillac from?
That was actually a Buick.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yep, 225.
I didn't count the number of holes on the side of the hood very accurately.
Wow. Yeah, normally you would see me in a Cadillac, but
yeah,
pricey these days.
Well, that
Everything's getting pricey these days, unfortunately.
We were talking about the cost of Camrys last week and how those things are getting out of sight as well. You said you weren't totally thrilled with the car. What happened with the car?
The choke was on the entire time, or within a few hits.
That's
so
good.
we were running about half staff. So maybe Dale would have made it 2-3 minutes. I don't know.
Well, Maybe that's back down your pace a little bit, and you didn't hurt the car along the way. Maybe that might have helped a little bit.
Yeah. It's demolition derby. You gotta go with it, and hey, it got it done. So,
the season coming up, is there? The car didn't look like it was particularly hurt. Is that something you're going to stick in the corner and wait for next year to come around and do it again, or is that going to be earmarked for maybe Canandaigua?
Yeah, I'd like to get it used up. It held up pretty well. Yeah, I've got some other county fairs on my mind. So
I was waiting in the video for that moment where you get that death stare, where you put the hit on Dale and you can see the switch flip. He just does that slow head turn. He's looking like you can only hit him one more time before you really make him mad. And it never really came to pass. And a couple of the hits that he made with that thing, the nose was starting to push back. And you know those shockers get when everything starts getting really loose and floppy, and all the steam and everything was pouring out of it.
It looked really good for a long time, and I was a little nervous, but
where does this win rate in terms of your successes that you've had over there at Yates County, and we've had a little bit of time off since we actually had the chance to do anything over there at Yates County. Where does this one fall?
It's right up there, I guess. I mean, it just kind of caught me off guard.
It had to be nice to just get back in a car. I mean, it's,
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was kind of a smaller heat, but I kind of felt like I was looking out for everybody, and I kind of had that mindset, and other than the way the car ran, I was real happy with it. So I mean, it rates up there, not number one, but
I've heard a lot of people, talk about small car turnout. It was an easy heat, and from my experience, both running and watching, sometimes the small car turnout isn't all that advantageous because that means that guys are able to get big runs. Because it
negates the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic doesn't clog the track up, and if you're battling with somebody, it's easy to get caught off guard. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
So it definitely.
I just tried to keep my eyes peeled and not take the big shot that would put me out. So.
Yep.
I had that exact conversation with Pat Carrick when I was talking with him for the piece that's going to be in the newspaper tomorrow on him. Just his family's been involved with that. The Grants have been involved, and the Ovens have been involved. And
is he related to Bubby?
That's his dad.
That's what I was thought.
Yeah. His dad's.
You didn't
Bubby.
follow him in the sprint car. He went into the devilish Derby.
No, actually, we talked about that too. But more to the point with Yates County specifically, they got all the guardrail out. So now it's block all the way around, and they did some work on the surface, so the grip is a little bit better. So you put those two things together on a track that's already kind of notorious for being how hard they drive otherwise. So those all factoring in together, he was saying something about the car count as well, and I said you don't need 100 cars, and you don't need $25,000.
Yeah.
If more money is going to get you more problems, it's going to slow the pace down. A fair show like that, you need 24 cars and get 12, 13 cars on the track for the feature, and it's going to be a show.
Yes, I agree.
Sure.
And it always is.
100 cars are.
Getting... I mean, it's always nice to go to a show where there's a lot of cars, but don't look down your nose at the small heats because, like I said, you have to drive different. You got to be more more alert, more everything. That was. The heat I ran at Morris this year, there was 20 cars on the track, and there was some big hits, but it was, the until the end, the clock was, or the track was kind of clogged. But I was watching, I can't remember where it was now, but it was on Alex's channel, and there was only like 6 big cars. But man, it was a big track, and they said go, and they went. They were getting after it right from the beginning. So, obviously, as fans, we would like to see more, but it's also the first year back. I mean, everybody's been out of it for 2 years. So, I'm glad that there was good support in the stands. Like I said, the on track action sounded great. So, I feel, and you just mentioned they did some improvements to the track. So hopefully. It all leads up to an even bigger and better show next year.
Yep. Brian, how did you get into Demolition Derby as a whole anyway?
I guess something I always wanted to do. I remember my grandfather taking me down here to Cancerega.
Mm-hmm.
I was young, back when it used to run till 2, 3 in the morning. And it's just something that stuck with me. I always wanted to do it. I did it once, and here we are.
When was that? You did it once a year?
I think 2002 was when I started.
I can remember, back in the day, Cancerega was like the big end of the year derby. Everybody from everywhere went there, and there was a lot of cars. Like Brian said, a lot of cars, and they derbied till early in the morning. So yeah, there's just seems to be history. You know what I mean? It just every time you talk, there's just more history comes up of the local area. So so-called local. Nobody really knows where Cancerega is. You can't find it on a map. We accidentally drove by it once on the way to a football game, and I'm like, hey, look, Cancerega. And I couldn't tell you how to get there now if I tried. So, But
She was kind of that way too.
yeah, Cuba, you head somewhere towards Buffalo-ish. It's about all I
And
know.
then break south. Hope for the best. With the county fair season for the Finger Lakes area just kind of hitting its stride now, with that, are we going to see you back up this way when you talk about those county fairs that you've got your eyes on, or is that going to be stuff that's a little bit closer to home?
I guess to be honest, it's thinking about doing Allegheny County next weekend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of see what I got and go from there. And
Is Allegheny County, is that one of the shows that Tommy Dowd goes to?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna
They've kind of changed their rules, and I don't know, giving it a shot. And we'll see what happens.
Change the rules how? Like, are they
Uh,
catching up with the times, or is it weird?
Yes,
quirky
I
stuff?
believe so. I won't know until I go, but it's been quite a while. But I guess I have that in mind, and then we'll see what I end up with. And I, would like to get them used up this year if possible. So
I think I saw a picture of Tommy and crew getting cars ready for that show. Tommy started his own business this year, and he looks to be crazy busy. So,
No doubt.
yeah, I was hoping that he might be able to.
I believe it's going to be a pretty big turnout there. But.
Good to hear.
Awesome. I know that was one of the traps that some of the fairs that came back online last year that still had cars and rolling in and adding days and running out of space and everything that I don't think that we're going to get a full picture of what the local demolition derby atmosphere is like until we get into a year like 2022 or 2023. 2021, we didn't have the competition and the pressure of the other shows, for one. And two, the cars that were built for 2020 and 2021 gave everybody the opportunity to bring two cars. Yep. And that's going to pad the numbers because you've got a reduced number of places to run and a surplus of cars. Now we're getting back into the swing of things where I think that's one of the things that actually kind of worked against Yates County is it wasn't necessarily on the forefront of everybody's radar. And I'm glad that everything worked out the way it was supposed to. All the purses were paid the way that it was supposed to, which is really what that's the kind of stuff that's going to get that attention back on the fairground. So it was good to hear all that stuff working out, and we're going to see a little bit more what the cost of that COVID break was. I think that we're going to see a drop off in cars, partially because people found that they could do other things. And we lost, that's 2 years of just age on some of that population that was considering retiring. Now you got a good reason to not come back.
Yep.
So I really hope that what we saw on championship night at Yates County is a sign of an upward trend, which was good. They ran 3 different divisions. They had decent turnouts all the way through, and everything really went the way that it was supposed to.
Did they have a truck class this year?
Yeah. Guess who went?
I'm going to say I can't think of them. I want to
Interlaken.
Oh, Amen. I was gonna say the Tinkers.
No, they didn't. Sean and Brian brought trucks down there and
one-ton vans or actually trucks.
Econoline vans and beat the crap out of each other.
That's awesome.
I'm not even for sure which one of them won.
I'll tell you what, I didn't realize the guy that ended up winning at Morris, he was with that crew. They had like 3 trucks on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe he came in with them on the same lowboy. So they're not afraid. They're a lot like the Tinkers. It gets down to them, and they will junk each other for the win. There's no shutting off. So that's good to see.
Yeah,
they wanted to run the vans with the unified V8s. I said no thanks.
Oh goodness.
Can you imagine that? Oh my gosh, it would have looked like Monster Jam out there.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I don't know though. If you could catch one of those vans sideways and hit it at the doors, I bet you could drive a ways through it.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know because with the unified rules, I don't think you're able to get enough height on the front of the bumper to get up into the doors like that, into the side.
You'd get over the whatchamacallit, and I bet you push them in a ways.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you could do it. Not like when Jeremy did it at Waterloo and drove through the van, but
that you're talking about Cale and Kyle Wilkins. I remember when those guys caught Jake Doyle's Astro van.
No, it was Corey Lukes.
Drove
through the corner.
Physically drove through it like it was a floor and a roof and there was nothing else there.
Yeah. That was very impressive.
Yep. But when your grandfather took you to, you said it was Canasarega. At that
Yeah.
point, were you hooked then as a fan?
I did enjoy it. I remember being really young, and there's only, bits and pieces I remember, but once I got a little older, it was just something I knew I wanted to try.
So where I was going with that was if your parents got into it at all, and if it was one of those things that was almost like a ritual, like when you go, there's some people that are these casual fans. They didn't go, missed a year here and there, kind of like Brian's driving at Seneca County. It's encompassing 25 years, but it wasn't every single year. But when it came to building the cars and actually participating as a driver, there wasn't any other influence other than just what you saw from the grandstands.
No, that's pretty much it. And then I've learned it all myself. I brought my dad along the way, 2010 when I ran Caledonia, things like that.
2010.
When I drove up over the loader tire and kept going, he told me I was nuts. But, my parents weren't into it. Just something I picked up, and I like cars. I like working on cars, all self-taught, I guess.
So that year at Caledonia in 2010, that would have been the year that Tori Mostrella came down, and it was the Reaper, Suicide Lincoln, and everything there. The year that Heavy Hitting had that show after the spring Metal Destruction 1.
Wow, you have a good memory.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we don't question Chris.
Wow. Yeah, you called that. So I think it was the year after that he actually went. But yes, I was there at that show. Yes.
Yeah, I think we went back. I think it was Caledonia, going back there to video, and Chris Brogan got shoved up on the wall in front of where I was standing, and it went up, like if there wasn't a backfill on that, he would have climbed up the side of the announcer's tower.
Really?
Yeah, it was neat. Yep. And man, you could see it coming because that tracks. Was
that a night show? Because I was there. I went there for one show there before I ran. Because I ran. It just popped up. I ran Gully's Cordoba there the year that
was the Caledonia Crash and Jam Festival.
Yep.
That was Kenny Swingle coming back to it. That was what, 2017? Because Dano went out there too that year.
Yeah, Gully had a truck. Decker had a truck.
Oh yeah, and I got my rear end handed to me in that heat. Because I did a brief stint with a junk run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you have a good memory.
But I remember going out there to watch when Brett was there. Roger Matthews.
That was the cleanup show. They used to have a fall show there too.
Yeah.
And Brett took.
It was a Chevy wagon.
Okay, that was the year that it came down to him and beers in Cuba, and he brought that to the cleanup show. It wasn't I can't remember what the name of it was. It was a fall show. Initially, I thought you were talking about when Brett brought Roger Matthews Imperial out there, the Blue Imperial. It ended late at night. It was pretty late
for both of them. I don't.
But he ended up winning that or maybe it was Chuck Chapman that won it. In any case, those two were battling it out forever. Chuck had a little red Malibu, and they were going toe to toe. Man, it was a great finish. That was the year that I can't remember who was on the berm. That fall show that Brett brought the Imperial, Rogers Imperial. That was the year that somebody didn't. I had some help on the berm on the front stretch side of the track. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they had their head down or what, but they completely missed it. And a car did like what you did at Yates County over the berm though, and launched like back tires off the ground, last and first on the other side. I almost think that it was one of the Gaskins was involved with that.
I was going to say, that was Matt Gaskin that went sailing.
That was crazy.
I was there for that one, so I must have been at both those shows. Yeah, that was a fun little track. I had a good time there.
And you said they're doing something. They are going to have a fair this year, but they're not doing any of the auxiliary stuff?
You're asking me?
Yeah, do you happen to know? I haven't seen anything on
I don't believe they're doing anything. I don't believe so.
No, that's too bad. That was a fun track.
Yeah, it was a neat little place.
There was another track out that way that was Hemlock.
That's another one that's...
The year we went for the Crash and Jam was Tiffany and whatchamacallit came up. And they, him and his Klinger, and I can't remember the guy's name that was with him, but they finished 1-2 in the feature. And Klinger got Mad Dog.
Was that Matt, number 9?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Klinger had a suicide and just junked everybody. It was pretty impressive. Not hard to believe either.
Yeah, not so much a stretch, I guess. It's man, you have to reminisce a little. That was some fun times.
You think about a lot of stuff I hadn't thought about forever.
Well, Brian, man, congratulations on the win. It was great to see that you were back in victory lane there, and I can't believe that it's been so long since last time. But all the same, it's definitely a quality win to come out on the right end of that equation with Dale Randall and that finish, and it's good to see Yates County Fairs back online.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the year. Hopefully everything goes well at Allegheny County, and keep in touch for sure. Now I know that you're on Facebook. Hopefully we get to do this again before the summer's over.
Okay, that'd be great.
Awesome, man. Congratulations. Anybody that you want to make mention of before we let you go?
Just my family, my kids and my other half, just for dealing with me. But.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again on the win over there at Yates County. Nice job, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, thanks again.
Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Brian France, man, I remembered that number 83 roof sign.
Yep. That's just what I was going to say.
The black and blue one.
Yep, just what I was going to say. Yeah, he's had a few good runs over there. I remember there been some pretty intense battles over there. So yeah, that was. Yep.
Austin Manshaki had a red shocker, and I think Brian got second that year. I'm trying to remember for certain. It was one of the Cuca Clash shows, because there was a couple of those in a row. And Jerry Ott, remember the year that Jerry Ott went out there and won the main event with was it Illumina?
Remember the year Dave Early had a suicide and junked, like Justin Gilmartin had won like 2 in a row, and Dave Early showed up with a suicide, and they said go, and Early short that 225 and like 2 shots. The bumper was to the rear window of Justin's car.
I remember
Early was after him.
He was shooting all sorts of fire out of that silver Lincoln, and that thing. That looked like, I bet you that was a 1.5 foot shorter just because everything pushed back so far.
Oh, yeah. He was
way shorter.
Getting after him. Maybe I have been to more, I don't know, maybe 10. I could have been 10 shows, but all the shows I've been to, they've all been pretty decent. I'd track.
We're going to catch up with JD Laurine here in a few minutes. We're going to be talking with him after he picked up the win. What we'll do first, we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back after this. Whoops, that's not.
That's how we're doing. There we go.
Smash Demolition Derby's County Fair schedule continues through the month of July. July the 21st and 23rd is the Fayette County Fair. Then the Franklin County Fair follows up on the 23rd. The 24th is Clark County. The 26th and the 30th will be Claremont County. July 30th is another 2-day date for Shelby County and the first night of Preble County. August 1st is the second night of Preble County. That brings us through Greene County. On the 1st, the 4th is Auglaize County, and then August the 6th is Pike County and Preble County on the same day. To stay up to date with divisions and classes and rules, visit smashitderby.com. Some results have been turned in from 2022 at Montgomery County. Caleb Morgan got the win in the Pro Stocks. The Pro Stock Minis was Richard Reprogel. Street Stock Full Size, Matt Reed. Street Stock Mini, Dustin Petrie. Dalton Garcia won the Street Stock Vans. July the 16th at Madison County. Pro Stock Mini was Nate Mick. Dylan Boisel won Street Stock Full Size. Street Stock Mini was Ryan Rue. Street Stock Vans, Quentin Adams. And the ladies' heat was Sydney Kite. Again, follow along with all the results in the schedule online at smashitderby.com. RPM Group is a progressive waste management business serving nearly 4,000 residents and businesses around Owego, New York. RPM Group can take care of all your waste management needs. Boasting a fleet of 2 roll-offs and 6 garbage trucks, RPM is fully insured and ready to serve. Ask about asbestos abatement and surveys, interior and exterior demolition, private parties and foreclosures, curbside trash and recycling, all that and more. Click or call, ask for Corey, tell him you heard about him here at the Crash Course Nationals, rpmgroupny.com, or 607-223-8714. On July the 16th, Proctorville is in the books. Braden Taylor got the win in the youth class over Kylie Dennison and Colton Lewis. That's the most recent event on the ME 527 Unified Series. Mowers, Andy Ridenauer won that one in the trucks. Zach Lehman got the win over Roy Holly. Mad Dog went to L.A. Ferguson. Rear-wheel drive street stock. Zach Aldine got the win over Jared Davis. Mike Dunlap got the Mad Dog in third. Front-wheel drive mini class. J.D. Laurine, we're going to be talking to him in a little bit, got the win over Ty Walters. Bubby J got the Mad Dog. And then in the ladies' heat, Tracy Osborne got the win in that one. Our leaderboard now, with that change, J.D. Laurine up to first. He's got 64 points to his credit. Ty Richards falling to second. He's been up at the top of that leaderboard for quite some time. Steven Sickles is right there within striking distance in third. Don Santel, Bill Miller back through the top 5. The next event is going to be in New Alexandria, Pennsylvania, July the 23rd. That's Day of the Dead. And then after that, Ruts Fab has a 2-day program on the 25th and the 29th at Butler County in Hamilton, Ohio. And then the first night of action at Preble is going to be the next event to round out the month of July. Follow along 527UnifiedSeries.com for additional details. On the virtual point series side of things, Impact SummerSlam has moved to the 29th of July, and Compact Carnage with Vito 324 Gaming has been postponed temporarily. At this point, Vito suffering a loss of his grandfather, so our condolences out to Brandon Reimer. That date will be rescheduled at some point. August the 5th and 6th is going to be Washington Warzone, hosted by Full Throttle. On the leaderboard, there has been no changes. Andrew Hernandez still on top with 70 points. Kyle Homer, Michael Coons, Earl Reff, Roddy Burns, and Anthony Hernandez back through the top 6 with Trevor Mulder, Colin Wiley, Alex Shaner, rounding out the bulk of the top 10. Johnny Shanks, Dalton Rudin, Herb Elkins, three-way tie for 10th. Follow along with all of that on the active RDP Green Discord, or you can find out more about the Unified Series on 527UnifiedSeries.com. And as we said, J.D. Laurine is joining us here on the line. J.D., man, congratulations on that win.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So the win in Proctorville, as Mark Elliott described it, you were the Lone Ranger, so to say, one of the only guys that was in action to try and score some points here on the weekend. And Proctorville is some pretty serious deep waters to go out there and make that bid in. Tell me about it.
It was pretty interesting. Like I said, it's about a 4.5-hour drive. Wasn't too far, so me and my buddy decided to go out there and see what we could do. Pretty good competition out there. The Webbs, and I forget the boy got second place. I think Tyler. He was pretty good behind the wheel. They definitely got some skill. So we're gonna try to patch the car back up and take it somewhere else.
You go anywhere in Ohio, and there's no easy wins. There's just too much talent in that state. You go anywhere, and you got to earn it. That's for sure.
Well, that's it's one of the things that I immediately thought about was with that 4-hour tow, and you're going into Ohio, or excuse me, going into Proctorville like that. It's one of those shows where they don't like each other, but they don't like anybody from the outside either.
Yep.
So I was kind of wondering if it was better to be from out of town, or was it better to have a buddy? What was the atmosphere and the climate like? Because those heats, it seems like everybody's at peace until there's that one haymaker, and then it just goes crazy.
Yeah, I mean, things went kind of smooth until it got down to probably around 8 to 10, roughly. Then they noticed, obviously I wasn't one of the locals. And them boys like to party, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
Was the points lead something that factored into the decision to go to Proctorville, or was this a show that was already on the schedule?
No, so I don't really like to go out of town too much. Like I said, it was a point series show, so I figured we'd give it a shot. Like I said, I haven't really ventured out of town too much. Started last year. I went out to Bash for Cash. That was probably the only time I ever went out of town to run. But this year we just started going other places.
Man, if you're going to go out of town, you go to Bash for Cash first. That's kind of a big jump off point there. Holy cow.
But at the same time, you don't go out of town a whole lot. Okay, that. I'll concede that part of it, but this is your 5th win in 7 scores. I mean, it's
just got lucky, I guess.
I think I've talked to this guy before.
In terms of that, though, I mean, we could laugh about getting lucky and things of that nature, but that's a lot of preparedness, and I don't think anybody's really doubting your ability behind the wheel when we're laughing about the luck side of things. But it still seems like there's got to be something to that, being able to walk into essentially any atmosphere and have the confidence and the driving ability to go out there and pick up the win. I mean, there's got to be something that makes you feel pretty good when that's the momentum that you're riding.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I run around home. You start running against your buddies, and that's just, you could have a little issue here and there with that. You know what I mean? So that's why we kind of decided to go out of town and see how things go out of town. Really.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are. Besides the Derby world getting smaller with social media, I think a lot of people have gotten worn out, running, because everybody's got their hometown, and it seems like, all hometowns, there's that hometown drama, and and it seems like guys are like, you know what, I'm over the drama. Let's go out and let's go out and try something different, and it's good. I mean, again, it's something I think really helps the sport is guys traveling and. Man, I like this inspection crew, and I like the payout. Man, this track's neat, and the people I run against are all cool. So, I think it's something really good for Derby that people are starting to do that more. I wish gas wasn't $27 or diesel wasn't $27 a gallon, so more guys could try it. Even more this summer. But it's good when people go out and try new stuff like that.
You got started when you were 15 years old running at Farmington?
Right around like 14, 15, right in that area.
I know different states have different rules on that kind of stuff. Was it something you had somebody sign off on it, or was that early enough?
Yeah, my mother signed off on it. My mom actually used to Derby back in, I like to say, Vietnam, just to mess with her. But her brother does it, and I kind of just got into it after that.
You said your mom derbied as well? I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah, she used to back in the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, is that how you got into it, between your mom and your uncle?
Like I said, I mean, I wasn't even in the picture whenever she was running. She kind of got out of it, and then my uncle decided to get back into it. I helped him put one car together, and I was kind of hooked from there. And then taught myself how to weld and car bends here, try to fix that area, and just learn as you go along. Really.
What was the first car you ever ran?
It was a Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
Nice little car to start out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never in my life get back in one. Not gonna happen.
That doesn't sound like that went all that well then.
No, like I said, I taught myself how to weld. Some of my welds broke. Just didn't hold up that well against the full frame Fords and Imperials and stuff like that.
Oof. No, that sure would. Holy cow. Man, no wonder you were nervous about jumping into Bash for Cash. I mean, you start with a Fifth Ave against those other cars, and wow, that's getting right into the deep water quick. Good for you.
Yeah, like I said, I like my room in the big cars. Started getting into little cars probably about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, and just been working out pretty well for me.
Yeah, it's been doing okay.
Yeah, not bad.
What happened with one of your pre-runs that you passed on to a youth driver?
I ran that car at Dead Man. I really don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it dropped a coil back or what. But like I said, I'm not the smallest guy in the world. And, I don't really like to be in little cars after they're pre-ran.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid, he wanted it, so I just gave it to him. He's actually taking it to one of the hardcore shows this weekend.
Nice.
Out at Jacktown.
Cool.
You gonna go to that one too?
No, I'll be up at New Alec this Saturday for the point show.
Awesome. I'll see you there.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer. It's about 1 hour and 10 minutes, so we'll be there.
You're going to Sharon Speedway, right?
Yeah, I'll be in Ohio.
A little different atmosphere though. Circle track racing.
I don't know if you watched the SRX the other night. They tore up a lot of cars. It wasn't pretty.
Kevin's got his hands full trying to get.
Kevin was not happy. He The post he put on Facebook afterwards was a bunch of non-driving mofos. Is all I got to say. He was not. I asked him. I said, "Did you tell anybody off?" He's like, "No, but I wanted to." So it wasn't good.
What are you going to be taking up to New Alex?
I have a 2001 Grand Marquis I used to drive on the road. And, figured it's time for it to come off the road and stripped it out. It's going to be one of those street stock cars.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, that'd
It's
be cool.
from North Carolina. My mother and I moved my uncle down to South Carolina. Had a box trailer, and I couldn't come home empty, so
No.
I found a car in North Carolina and ended up buying it, brought it home, put a fender on it and a hood. I drove it for probably about a year, and well, it's time to be a derby car now.
Absolutely. That happened to me one year. I can't remember what I was driving before. Oh, I was driving I had a 76 New Yorker. And I was driving it on the road. And the car that I was going to run at Waterloo, something happened to it. I said, well, time for this to come off the road. Took the 76. Like, I took it off the road like on a Saturday. And it was ready, and I ran it Wednesday night at Waterloo and got second or third with it in the feature. I don't remember. I think it was second.
Do you remember when Walt Mitchell did that to his wife's car?
Oh, yeah. Took it for a rip off the road, came home, cut the body off it, put down his late model.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like a 66 GTX or something that would be worth like 90 grand now.
I don't know if it's quite. Some of the details might be a little bit different there, but yeah, something along those lines.
Oh yeah, it was a classic car. I mean, it was one of the ones that, because I mean, that's what he ran. Roadrunners, GTXs, Chargers. That's the bodies he'd cut off to put on his. And you look at some of the prices of those. Same with my brother. My brother's first race car was a 1970 Dodge Challenger Plum Crazy.
Really?
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, it needed, like, the interior needed to be redone, and it needed a paint job. Other than that, there was nothing, no dents, no scratches, no rust, no nothing. And he cut it up and proceeded to start his racing career with it, so.
I saw there was a Oldsmobile 442 that was, it met its demise in one of the big meets over, I think it was in Ireland. It was an old 442, and it had been converted over, and the back end was waffled right up to the back windows and stuff.
It's funny. I was off today, so I was watching Banger Racing, and it was from recently, and like there was hearses in it, and there was a shocker. There was some there was some Lincolns. It was
an Edsel that ran this weekend.
It was crazy. Those guys are nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely, completely insane nuts.
And they think that we're the crazy. What about you, JD? Would you ever do a banger race?
I didn't hear you. What's that?
Would you ever do a banger race where they drive around in the circles and just barrel into each other?
I don't know how I feel about that.
it's pretty wild. But have you started on that Grand Marquis yet?
What's that?
Have you started on the Grand Marquis yet?
Yeah, I actually just fired it up. I gotta finish some wiring up and get a gas tank in it and get the battery box in it. It'll be about ready to go.
Nice.
Sweet. Congratulations again on the win. Is it going to be easier to sustain a point lead, or is it easier to chase people now?
I guess I don't know how the rest of the year is going to work out. I mean, it's anyone's game. It's just a matter of who wants it the most. I can't make it to all the shows, but we'll make it to a few of them.
You don't have to make it to all of them. You just have to score more points than everybody else at the ones you're at, right?
Right. Yeah, let's play our cards right and see what happens.
That's awesome news. Well, I wish you the best. I look forward to catching up with you here this weekend, and hopefully everything goes smooth with the build. And maybe we'll be counting some more first place points come Sunday morning.
Right. Hopefully.
Is there anybody that you want to make mention of before we let you go?
I'd like to thank Dennis Hogan, my buddy Shane Evans, and Tim Hughes. Them guys helped me out a little bit here and there in the garage. So my mother especially, she's all about the chasing the points. So I texted her this morning. I asked her if she wanted to go fishing for me. She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, there's a car. It's 2 hours away. I was going to see if you could go get it for me." So she's going Wednesday to get it for me.
That is awesome. That is terrific. You got the coolest mom in the world.
Yeah, she helped out with driving down to Daytona, Florida with that. I had the 2-car hauler with us, so every once in a while she might take out a traffic cone if we get into construction, but that's about it.
That's great, man.
Excellent.
We've heard a lot of Derby stories, but I think that's the first mom picking up a Derby car we've heard of. That's awesome.
Very cool. And that's coming home Wednesday?
What's that?
You said that's the car that's coming back. That car's coming back Wednesday?
Yeah, she's going to go pick it up for me Wednesday.
So you got to make sure that there's nothing left of this Grand Marquis next Saturday, so you got room in the garage for it.
Oh, we got plenty of room.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the win again in Proctorville, and the momentum is certainly on your side. Hopefully, you have some good luck this weekend at Deadman, and we'll see you down there, JD. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yep, no problem. We'll talk at you later.
We'll catch you later.
Have a good one.
That was JD Laurine. Wrapping things up. So, real quick, we're going to tell you a little bit about Demolition Derby Life magazine, and we'll be right back. Oops, we want that one. Demolition Derby Life magazine releases 12 copies a year and covers all of the action coast to coast for the Demolition Derby world, home of the hottest action motorsports magazine on the market. There's over 30 editions that have been published to date. A full year subscription is $119, and past issues are available. They should be coming out with another release here in the coming weeks. Make sure you jump online and follow along. Find out more about Lexi Droz and everything going on with Demolition Derby Life magazine on demolitionderbylife.com.
Where'd you go?
We did do it at Derby.
Ow, my head! You want to do a derby?
Hey Derby World, this is All For Him Racing Videos, where Derby never ends. We have people come up and ask, what is All For Him Racing Videos? And the answer is a YouTube channel dedicated to growing the sport of demolition derby in a positive and fun way. Our passion is to show the next generation this sport and capture the memories for generations to come. We're just trying to show that you can be a Christian, do crazy and exciting things like demolition derby, and just spread the word. We have traveled all over the country filming events, all while meeting many great people, hearing amazing stories, seeing the passion for this sport, and falling in love with the derby community. We have grown to be the largest demolition derby channel on YouTube across the world, with millions of views within our large library of videos. We love what we do and can't wait for what the future has in store. We always want to be a place for positive, exciting, and action-packed derby videos. Thank you, Derby World, and enjoy the videos.
Jeffy's Fab Farm in Fredericksburg, Virginia specializes in all of your demolition derby needs. We've got you covered from bumper to bumper. Whether you need headers, shifters, harnesses, fueling systems, or complete turnkey setups, Jeffy'sFabFarm.com can help. We've even got a Canadian branch to help our northern customers. With over 16 years in the industry, we've got the knowledge and experience needed to provide the highest quality parts and put you in the winner's circle. Visit our website today or call Jeff at 540-907-3390. Fabby says the best parts come from the farm. Jeffy'sFabFarm.com.
And we're back. We got Nick King joining us now to go over some of the heats for the Iron City Nationals. I don't know if you saw that the heats were drawn and sorted. Nick's on the line. Have you got your list there? We've got copies of them here as well. You there, Nick? Hey, Nick.
Yeah, hello?
There we go. All right, perfect. The heat draws look pretty intense for the Iron City Nationals, man. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's one that you'd want to be in versus another.
No, they're all three pretty tough. We was pretty blessed this year with the entries that we got and all the names we got this year. So it's going to be a good one. All three heats are definitely something you'd want to watch.
Well, we can break down heat number one. Iron City Nationals is going to be September 9th and 10th, 2022. And all of this was done on a random draw. Rick Firster and Chris Firster, the first two added to heat number 1. Mike Miller, Jack Clark, Chance Smith's going to be out there. Corey Roman going to be in group number 1. RJ Barnes going to be out there as well. Rick Clark drew into that one. Jack Drenovich is going to be in heat number 1, along with Evan King. Tom Henderson is going to be out in that as well. That's a past champion at Bash for Cash, that heat number 1. And that right there, that lineup, somebody's walking home with $10,000.
How crazy is that?
And that's, I believe them guys will be running on Friday. I believe that's the Friday heat, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the Friday group, right?
Yeah, so just to start a show off with that type of drivers on a Friday, you can only imagine what Saturday is going to be like.
Right. Justin Harvey, we talked about Justin Harvey from some of the stuff going on out on the western part of the state when we talked to Craig Bedell, and he's on that rundown as well. For group number 2, J.D. Laurine is going to be running in the first of the 2 groups on Saturdays. Main event part of the program, David Stone from Waterloo going to be making the trip down. Andy Burrows is on that lineup as well. Paul Henderson from up in New Hampshire. Taylor Atwell, Tyler Atwell, Jamie St. Mary, Eric Stoll, all those guys in the same group, along with Toby Hiley. Tim Clark Jr. is going to be out in that one. DJ Fabry, Justin Gilmartin, Cody Riley, Justin Riley, Chris Quensler, Nick Quensler, Jordan Rutherford, John Rutherford, Brett Relier registered for that one. Ryan Ostrander, Joey Pernice, Pete Hansen. That's a $10,000 feature, all right.
Holy cow.
That heat is the main event.
That's
that heat is that's actually the Saturday night, the last heat Saturday night. So that'd be that heat. There's the second heat Saturday night.
Well, it's going to be nuts.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. I said, this year we was pretty blessed with the lineup that we have, and just it is mind blowing that you can get all them guys to support your show. Definitely with this day and age with the fuel and everything, and I don't think we've had anyone say that they're not going to be able to make it yet.
That's awesome. Another one of the names that was out there, TJ McCulloch's in that group, and we saw him win the Frank the Tank class, right? Excuse me, not Frank the Tank, the Big Wayne class.
TJ won last year's show too.
No, he won. Yeah, not Big Wayne. He won the overall.
He won the Iron
Yeah,
City
he won
Nationals
the
last year, so he's the defending champ. I just actually spoke to him over the weekend. He's real excited.
Frank Van Houten making the toe down as well, and he drew into that class.
Wow.
Yep, into that group, I should say, into that group. Again, those guys are going to be taking home. They're taking home $10,000 and a championship belt for winning that. All of the super stock heats are going to be one and done. There's no qualifying consi feature. Each one of these is standalone, $10,000. Group number 3 is, whoops, wrong one. There we go. Andy Burrows is going to be in this one as well. So a couple of these guys are bringing 2 cars, trying to give themselves 2 chances to get in there. Cindy Regenbald is on the entry list. Matt Gaskin is on the entry list for that one. Mad Mike DeFriesche, he got a win over the weekend.
Another one. Hard to believe.
Yep, that Darren Hall's scheduled to be there. He's going to be making the tow in from Leroy, Kansas. We remember Darren Hall's name from all the trips out to Topeka. Michael Lovejoy, the Lovejoy name is seen plenty of checkered flags out there in that part of Pennsylvania. Chris Abbott is on the entry list. Ryan Steele. This one is going to be Seth Rutherford. He got into heat number 3 as well. This should be Jared Skilling's making the tow. In addition to that, this one's going to be the last of the 3 super stock heats. This one should likely be the championship round, and Steven Sickles also drawing into this one. So,
Chris.
Yeah.
That heat there will be the first heat Saturday.
Okay. It said heat 3. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
It's kind of backwards how it is. That the main heat is the second heat. It's going to be the second heat on Saturday.
I was wondering
I may be wrong too.
I was wondering if maybe Steve Siopa has changing the name and registered under a false name like Tony Stewart used to, so he can sneak in there and try to run that.
We hear about it all the time. He wishes he could run, but he knows better.
I've talked to him many times. I said all the wins you guys got down there, and I said, that's a big payday. I wish I could run it somehow, man. I'd love to run that show. I said, I bet you. So, I think he likes accepting those $10,000 checks more than writing them out. But he's great job to the Psyopa crew for putting on a show like this, and obviously, it's drawn. I mean, you got some of the best drivers in the country that are going to be there for that show, so it's not going to be one you want to miss. That's for sure.
What have the questions been like that you guys have been having to wrestle with in terms of the build style for the super stocks?
I mean, we haven't really had a lot of crazy questions. I mean, just small stuff that you would normally get. The bumper shock rule, everyone's having their fun time with that. We're letting them decide if they want to use a plate or actually factory bumper shock. So guys are getting a little creative with that, but that's what we like at our shows. We like a little bit of creativity, and we want you to try something different as long as it's within the rules.
Yeah.
So and then what helps us out a lot too is we allow fix-it plates on fresh cars for them big classes, and then unlimited 9-wire after you get your stick. So since you don't have the heat and a feature, after you pass and after you get your flag, or your stick, you go back to the pits, you and 10 buddies, just start putting number 9 wire all over the car, wherever you want it.
That's crazy.
So that makes it that makes it a whole lot easier too on us, because a lot of guys don't try to get too creative or try to push the limit too bad, because they know they get to fix the plates and they get the unlimited 9-wire before they even get to go out there. So that helps it out a lot.
I would think that would help a lot.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, no doubt.
What would you be doing if you had to put unlimited 9-wire on the car that was fresh and already had fix-it plates?
Mine?
Yeah.
I wouldn't build a car that you had to put unlimited wire on.
Well, it was funny. It was funny last year. TJ had some big master plan that they brought like 200 pounds of 9-wire, and he had like 4 or 5 guys, and he passed. His car was legitly built like 99.9% directly to the rules. He had 1 or 2 little things to cut, and he came back up, and he was like one of the first ones to get his stick. And we drove through there on the golf cart, like, I don't know, an hour before showtime or something, because I just wanted to see who all was 9-wiring or what they was doing. And TJ don't have like 1 string of 9-wire on his car. I said, TJ, he said, oh, it's too hot. He said, we thought about it. I didn't put none on there. I said, so you had this big master plan? He said, yeah, that went right out the window. He said, it's too hot. He said, I ain't going to need it. Then he went on and won. You know what I mean? So it's there for guys if they want it. And then, some guys won't even mess with it, and their car still does exactly what they want their car to do. So,
is there any restrictions on what you can do with unlimited 9-wire?
Unlimited 9-wire. We don't have restrictions on it. It gets to a certain point where you kind of push back on it, but they're not allowed to re-weld or redo anything like that. So it's just basically wherever you could put it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. On fresh cars.
Yeah, on fresh cars. That's pretty crazy. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's going to be a show. And when you look at that driver's list, I mean, all this stuff is going to be out there. We ran through the litany of drivers that are going to be there, and I know we probably skipped over a couple of them that were even more interesting names. Mike Tosco, he's registered, and I think Tosco won Bash for Cash last year, didn't he?
Yeah, Tosco's won, I think, Bash, and then I think he did really good at Dead Man's Show.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the Rutherfords bring.
And where the 9-wire is.
Well, I can remember the first show I ever went to in Ohio, their father won it. And
Johnny?
Yes. And it took him, it was one of his boys was driving the car back and forth from inspection. And I can't remember the exact number of times it went through inspection, but it was a lot. And it was a black roundback wagon, hard to believe, in Ohio. And that thing was it was beyond nasty. I mean, it just, So, and obviously we've seen the compacts and the parts that those guys build. So, I mean, they're very detail-oriented, very successful, very, very good builders. So definitely looking forward to, I'm glad I'm going to be there Saturday night. Definitely looking forward to seeing all that. That's going to be crazy.
What would you build, Nick? Because you also don't have the luxury of being able to drive in this one. What would you be building for this show?
I'd probably have a 9802.
Yeah. And how many times would it have to go through tech inspection?
I like building my stuff to the rules. ever since I've started working derbies, years ago or whatever, like my buddies have tried to have me push it, on some builds, and I'm like, that's on you guys. I said, I'm not doing it. I said, I do this stuff a lot. I just like to build it and go.
Mm-hmm.
But just like crooks make the best cops, cheaters make the best inspectors. I'm just throwing that out there to my buddy Nick King. That's just what I know.
I mean, I've had my fair share of cutting over time of cars, but anymore it's, like I said, since I've started working, I'm trying to get that in Steve's head. Every time Steve builds a car, I'm like, we know that your car's to the rules, but you still got to cut too much. I said, act like you're building it for our show, and you just want to pass one round. He said, absolutely not.
Oh, no.
I said, all right.
Nope, that's not going to happen.
No, you can't convince him to change his ways, but when you build as good as they do, you want to keep building like that.
Yeah. Well, he sent me a picture of the wagon that he took to the first Dead Man show before the show, and I was like, how many days did you, and I think he said it was 3 days, him and Mark worked on the back end. Just straight, just working on the back end of that wagon.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was definitely a nice ride.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, but it's, and that's the thing. I mean, you get to a show of this level and, there's not going to be any guys there that kick the windows out and take the lights out and call it good. So
yeah, oh no, we don't expect no one to do that.
Yeah, no,
not unless you're in the most wanted fine art class.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the thing. I mean, I like the rules, and I like that you guys let them build, but the cars still bend. You know what I mean? Like there's, stuff still comes out of their junk. I think that makes the crowd happy as well. I mean, it's.
And then another thing with the 98 02s, there's 40 cars, so even if 5 or 6 don't come per class, you're still looking at 35 cars per class. If someone don't come or someone doesn't pass or whatever it may be, Crown Vic being a little smaller, you get a little bit of more, maneuverability out there. That plays a big part in these, nowadays with everyone losing steering and different stuff like that. So.
Well, last year we saw the run that Mark Burrow's brother had. Mm-hmm. In the Chrysler wagon. I mean, he drove that right down to the end. That was a nasty wagon. I was very happy to see that being a Mopar guy. So,
what I like about
he would have actually probably won that last year in that Mopar wagon if he had beadlocks.
Yep.
What I like is you don't see the cookie cutters.
No,
there's no cookie cutter builds. You're allowed to do your interpretation, and there's a lot of different build theory when you walk around the pits.
Oh yeah.
At the Iron City Nationals.
Yeah.
It's definitely a show that you want to come to and be there personally to see because of, 2 days of just, like you guys said, some of the best builders on the East Coast is actually the best builders on the East Coast is going to be there. 120 of the best builders on the East Coast with a few guys from out West coming over. Yeah. But, I mean, there's not another show out there that's got that caliber of drivers, pre-registered that's going to be there. And I don't know if we have one driver on our list that's going to be like, if you're new and upcoming Derby driver, if you want to walk up and ask him questions, I don't know if any of them would just be a complete a-hole and just tell you to get away. They're not going to let you dig all over, but most of our drivers on our list they'll talk to you. They're national drivers, so they will talk to you and teach you about, the full-size game.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yep, it's going to be good. If you're looking for additional information on it, well, we got a drop that's going to be playing through here in a few minutes. What have you been up to, Nick?
Actually, right now I'm in the garage. We're building. I'm building 2 youth cars for my little niece and nephew for our fair. Exactly 1 week from today, them 2 will be derbying. And then I built me and T.Y. some most wanted fine art cars for Wednesday. And then back Friday, because we have three derbies this year at our fair with, and then we'll be back Friday for the kids running again if they have anything left. So
awesome. Well,
I just went and helped Tony Godwin and them this past weekend with derby and just trying to stay into as much as I can.
There's no rest coming. Are we going to see you at Dead Man this weekend, or you got something else going on?
No, I got to work on these cars this whole weekend. Like I said, the derby's Monday, so I won't be there. But I'll be at, I think, the Halloween show we're going to come over to and watch, or maybe try to run or something. I'm not sure.
Nice.
We talked about maybe coming over there and supporting him a little bit. I know Steve and them are.
Sweet.
I'd like to build something, but it's hard when I like to build street stock cars and they don't have them rules. That's what's best about the Most Wanted Fine Art class. You ain't allowed to weld on a bumper, so I can do all that right here in my little one-car garage.
Yep.
What are you building for that?
I built TY, which TY is Sour's buddy that ran the Iron City last year.
Yep.
I built him a Toyota Sienna minivan, and then I'm running a GMC Envoy.
Nice.
That's cool.
That Toyota Sienna minivan's no slouch. That's a good piece.
Yeah, that's a good car.
Oh yeah, I got him some good tires on the front because you got to have DOT tires. I've got him good tires for the front. It's built good like I would run it. So
awesome.
I didn't get him in nothing that he can't. I told him if he keeps it running and he stays within the pack and don't get his front end ripped off, then I can get him down to the top 3 hopefully.
Nice.
Because I just plan on just being his protector in the Envoy. This thing's an absolute animal.
Cool.
You ever put one of those together before?
No, this is the first time. It's got a damn frame on it like belongs under a Crown Vic.
Uh-oh. Wait a second.
Yeah. See, the original plan was I was going to run the Sienna van and let him run the Envoy, but once I seen it, I said, well, I'll run this, so if I got to be the protector, I can hammer with this thing.
Right on.
Got to be the enforcer. You can do it.
Yeah, and like I said, that's what's best about that class. We have that class at our show too. It's literally you can't weld on a bumper, you can't do nothing. It's however the car comes. You can move your battery and gas tank. That's it.
Cool.
And that's what's great about like our show. You're gonna see $15,000 builds, and then you're gonna see a $250 car come through inspection 20 minutes later.
That's awesome. Yep. That was a fun heat to watch last year. There was everything on all sorts of vehicles on that track, and they were getting after it. So
it was chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, last year we wetted it down too much. This year that won't happen.
Well, last year we got there and it was wet. They had to work it up, and they got it nice for the.
It ran in.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, it ran in.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yep. We still also just for our show, just a quick little thing. We have that 2-man extreme this year that we just added this year. I think they're running on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Wayne heavyweight class and the youth full size. So anyone listening or that does listen or whatever, we got spots available for those 3. That's still good money paydays, and there's still spots available. So if anyone's listening or looking for a class just to run at our show, one of those 3 is available.
Perfect. Well, we'll tell everybody about all that stuff here in just a minute as well. Sounds like you got your hands full getting those cars together. Hopefully everything goes well and you have a good time. Getting those youth cars finished up.
Before you called, I was drilling holes in the back quarter so I could 9-wire the door shut, and I broke my drill bit. So the whole time I've been on the phone, I've been looking for a drill bit.
Well, you might have a little bit of time, so maybe you can make it to Lowe's before they close.
I'll find something in this garage. If not, I'm going old school and putting a hammer and a pry bar through there and poking holes with it.
Perfect.
Done that before.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit with us about the Iron City Nationals, Nick. We'll catch up with you soon.
No problem, man. We'll see you guys soon.
We'll see you later.
Have a good one.
Yep.
There goes Nick. Nick King with the lineup. So, we got a few minutes here. We'll go ahead and we'll do that Iron City bit, and we will be right back. Iron City Nationals are coming up in a little under 2 months. Friday the 9th is going to be opening night stock compacts, the Big Wayne class, 2-man extreme class, and super stock heat number 1. Pits open at 8 a.m. Saturday the 10th follows up with Power Wheels, Most Wanted Fine Art, Street Stock Challenge, full-size youth class, and then the second and third 10,000 win championships. Pits open at 7 a.m. It's at the New Alexandria Lions Club, 1874 Lions Club Road, New Alex, Pennsylvania. IronCityPromos.com for additional details. The Super Stocks, all 3 flights are going to be paying 10,000 win and a championship belt. The Big Wayne heavyweight class, 2,500 and championship belt. 2-man extreme class, 2,000 to win. Stock compacts, 1,500 to win. 1,500 to win. Street Stock Challenge, and then the youth full size, $700, a championship belt, and a fresh 9802 Crown Vic. That's all waiting for the winners at the Iron City Nationals. We're going to be going over the list a little bit later on. Online for details, IronCityPromos.com. The 2022 Hardcore Tour is back in action this coming weekend. July the 23rd is King of the Hill at Jacktown Fair in Windridge, Pennsylvania. Both those classes are pre-registration only, Hardcore Compacts and the Hobby Stocks. Next month, August the 12th, is Chaos and Coal Country. That's Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Hardcore Compacts, Hobby Stocks, and Power Wheels part of the program there. Then the big August headline event, August 15th and 19th, is Washington Warzone in Washington, Pennsylvania. Night 1, Hardcore Limited Weld, full-size bone stocks, youth full-size, street stock compacts, and Power Wheels part of the card there. And then Night 2, Hardcore Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Minivan, and SUV, and the Power Wheels. Keep in mind, September 3rd and 4th is the marquee event of the Hardcore Tour Labor Day Lockdown in Stoneboro, Pennsylvania. HardcorePromotions.com has all the details. Jump online, check them out, or follow on with all those real awesome photos that are posted on the Hardcore Facebook page at Hardcore Derby Promotions. And just wrapping things up, we were talking about a lot of the results and how busy this weekend was. Run down some of the stuff that we came across just by cruising through Facebook. Zach Eisler took first place in the mod car, and Jonathan Heilman got a win in the Pro Stock class. So those guys picked up some victories over the course of the weekend. Team CPI, Tori Hyde and Mike Schmidt, they got the team win in Ottawa. That was one of Candace's shows, if I'm not mistaken. Jay County Fair, Caleb Joy and Scotty Drevenak got 1-2. Scott Sr. was on track as well. He ended up breaking a drive shaft, so unfortunately he wasn't able to do that. But that was at the Jay County Fair. Mad Mike, we talked about him getting the win. That was in Trumbull County, so not a bad win for him. And then Chris Lancaster, I don't know if you saw that. He put some kickers in his old Mercury.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he got the win at Elk River.
Cool.
Yep, that wasn't too bad. Joey Molman, excuse me, I misspoke. He got second place with that. Joey Molman got the win.
Gotcha.
But nonetheless, got the checks to bring home. You know.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So that was pretty cool. Mikey Kelly got the win and a Mad Dog in Greene County over in Indiana. That was one of Toast shows on the weekend. David Ritchie, he ended up getting a win at Ventura Raceway over in California. So that was neat to see.
Yeah.
Nate McMahon was going to be with us tonight, but he was scheduled to be offloaded by a crane at 6 o'clock, which would be 7 o'clock here. And he can't really be doing an interview in the midst of that, so he's not going to be able to make it. But I did want to make mention of that. He runs in that same group as Sean Porth, and in that whole group, that was the Henry County Fair in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Thompson, let's see, I forgot what that was. And then John Mavis got a win in Templeton, and then took a second in Sherburne in the full-size super stocks and second in the vans. So that's just kind of a rundown. And then Waterloo, Seneca County is this week. Wednesday is night number 1. Night number 2 is going to be on Saturday. This week, Wednesday's program is the figure 8 with heats in the championship, the junk run championship, the Wallborn chain and bang for V6 and V8s. There's no qualifying heats for the stocks this year. Everything being contested, as I understand it, is a one and done. And then on Saturday, it is going to be the full-size trucks, the stock class, a one and done for V6s and V8s, the chain and bang one and done for the 4s and the 6s, and the Force Loader Championship. Cars that ran in the figure 8 can come back and compete in that. And I saw they added a bunch of new bleachers this year, too.
Yeah, I seen a bunch of bleachers sitting down there, and I wonder what they were doing with them, but they finally put them on the infield, which we've been saying for years.
Poured a pad, got them set up. Yeah, it wasn't a bad deal.
That was a very good idea. That's going to help a lot. Best wishes. Hope everything goes well for Kyle and the crew this week. I like the idea of having everything one and done. People just don't have two cars as readily available, and with the prices of stuff now, it's just... so I think that'll help.
And like TJ said, it's too hot.
Yeah, that too. Well, except that it's Waterloo, so it's raining. We got an inch and a half last night at my dad's. In the 80s and newer chain and bang the first night, I think that's a great idea. I think that should be a fun heat. Hopefully they can get some more V8s in there. I know the compacts the last few years they've been right around between that like 40 to 60 number, 40 to 70 number. So that's pretty good. Hopefully they get some more bigger cars in there, and everything goes well for them.
So we'll be touching base on that stuff. Did you see Zach Herman's picture?
I did not.
Pretty gnarly looking car.
Really?
He's gonna have some fun.
Cool.
Yep. He's gonna have some fun.
Here's a question. You made me think of it. How many years in a row did you go watch Waterloo before you missed one?
It was 1985 until 2004.
Wow.
And then I think it was 85. And then 2005 until 2013, I think. And then it's been kind of hit and miss from there.
Wow.
But yeah, it was somewhere around there. So I don't know. I don't know if I can count 2004 or not, because I was living in Virginia and I came back up to go watch the Derby, to announce the Derby, and I was there for Wednesday, but Saturday got rained out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there one night, but then the Derby was rained out and they held it the week after or something.
Friday night.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
they
it
held
came
it
out 20 or 3,200 and below, and Ben and I had like 2 cornets and finished 1-2.
And that win was an important one because that broke Ben's tie with Jake Doyle, I believe, for most career wins on Saturday night. And I wasn't there for that because I had to work. There wasn't any way to make that happen. So I don't know if you can count that one as missed or not, because I was there.
What do you remember from 1985?
I remember from 1985. There was all the cars were numbered as they came in.
Yep.
So it was 1, 2, 3. That wasn't even necessarily the heats. The first car in was car 1.
Yep.
So cars 1 through 12 were out there for heat 1, or 1 through 25, or whatever it was. And I remember seeing cars coming in with 121, 122. Originally, we went there to just see. My dad was working for the fire department at the time, so we saw him. And I remember when they announced a couple of the drivers, it was really loud boos.
Guessing they were Benjamins.
And that was, yeah, it was. And it was just a flood of cars. And I remember, I think Rebel Key was there.
Announcing.
And Bob Rogers. Talking about in the Double Deuce. And what stands out more is actually the following year, because my brother had been born in April. And we were at my grandparents' house, and I wanted to go. I remembered it last year, and I needed to get more inspiration to smash the rest of my Matchbox cars with a hammer. And that's the house that we live in now, so we're only 2 blocks from the fairgrounds, so you could hear it. And I begged and begged and begged. I think like maybe we went Wednesday, or we were going to go Saturday, and we were going to skip Wednesday, but my uncle finally agreed to take me over, and they were already running at that point. But as you come in, we turned to the right, and it was packed. So we only went up like 3 rows and found a seat. And at that point, there was the crossover gate still was like, it was like still made of wood or whatever it was,
Yep.
before they put all the chain link back in. And these 2 cars came together just on the turn 1 side of that gate, and the fender went up over the clapboard because the rail was still there.
Yep.
And it ruptured the overflow tank. And this green volcano, as we're sitting, it's just in it, and it stunk, and there's tire smoke, and there's belt squealing and everything, and this volcano is just boiling up out of this. And that is when we talk about Seneca County. Anytime you hear us talk about Seneca County or Waterloo or whatever, that is the vision that comes into my head. Is that frozen moment in time in I believe it was 1986. And that was it. So like when I was on the stage announcing, anytime cars got anywhere close to that, that's what was in the back of my mind. And I don't remember the names of the drivers, but I remember one of the cars was car number 2 or car number 12. It was painted silver, kind of like a Coors Light type idea. And I remember seeing that car pulling out and getting staged, and it got hit in the right front corner by another car. I don't know what it was, because back then it was all sorts of wild stuff. It wasn't just old Mopars, and it was at a point where
everything.
It was everything.
Everything.
And that stands out. And then Lenny Marr had a red wagon with he always had gorgeous looking cars. There was a Captain Crunch theme on it.
Really?
I think. Or it was Ben. I can't remember, but there was in any case, the hood had an airbrushed Captain Crunch character on it, and he went backwards down the track and hit the nose of a car. This was a couple years later. This was a couple years later from when that overflow deal happened, because we were sitting up on the wide slats halfway up by the old press box.
Yep.
And I remember when they hit, the car went up and the back went up and they stopped. It was like a teepee right there in the middle of the track.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty wild. And then, I don't know if I've ever told this story before, but this is another one that stands out from my dad because, you know, he always had it out. He used to say that the only point that the fire department needs to be there for is to check safety. Otherwise, do whatever you want to do. And they had timed Betty Benjamin out. She kept fiddling around under the dash trying to get the thing to start. And Dad kind of gestured with his walkie-talkie to stop, and she kept fiddling around. Well, somebody came along and clocked her, and it exploded the bridge of her nose, and she bounced.
Dave Harrington.
Yeah, and they red flagged it, and she was okay. And my dad had the greatest stories. Like, she was so mad, she called me everything that she could because we made her get out of the car, and she didn't think she was timed out. It was.
Yep. That was.
And never did I ever think that I would have Mark Benjamin's phone number. You know.
Yeah, that was definitely when. But they made that show. Yeah, they were the bad guys to make that show. They were the heel, and you know, I remember that like it was yesterday because Dave Harrington actually lived right up the road from my girlfriend then, wife now, and you know he was the only one around here that could really honestly truly compete with the Benjamins. He could build a wagon that when he was a good driver. But I remember that, and the car that Betty took out, like, I don't think it had a radiator or something. And either Harold didn't have, she was running by herself and this night, and Harold had told her to shut it off. And I remember him being out on there when they were talking to her to make sure she was okay. He's like, I told you not to run it. She said, yeah, but look how well I did with it. And she did. She ended up second, and Dave won. You know, Dave felt terrible about it because, you know, she'd obviously hurt her nose. But, yeah, that was, you know, and as you were telling stories, I was thinking, and I don't have, like, I remember there being the track full of cars and just the smell of burnt rubber and the noise. And I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. And, like, I remember this was... If your first one was 86, this had to be 85. This had to be like...
And my brother wasn't born yet, so that's like the only frame of reference that I have.
This had to be like 80, 81. Mm-hmm. I remember going to the Derby. My brother used to show cows down there at 4-H, and afterwards...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Afterwards, there was actually a Derby car parked right outside the gate that went out to like the... And I got to walk up next to a real Derby car, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Yep.
And you know, it was a couple years later, but some guys down the road had built some cars, and but it was, man. I mean, that was, you know, and we've taken some grief for talking about, but that's what got you and I started, was that track.
That was it.
And you know, it's funny. You talk to people, and you know, I was talking to Brett and Corey both about it, and they're like, you know, talking about me going to Morris, they're like, that track, Morris is a long, aggressive, hard-hitting. And they're like, you go down there by yourself. And I'm like, yeah. But they're like, but you started at Waterloo, and that place is crazy. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's just what we do. You know what I mean? Like, I never thought, you know, when I pulled out there the first time in my Grand Torino that I'd driven on the road, you know, I was anxious, but I'm not like, holy cow, this is huge, and I'm going to get knocked out of my seat. And it was just what I always wanted to do, you know?
I remember going down to the fair office and saying, I don't know what deal was struck for this guy to do the announcing. It just wasn't. I said, but next year I'm interested in doing it if you need somebody. And I think it was that Saturday because I had all the stats. I kept track of everything. Mm-hmm. You know, I was a kid. I'd deliver newspapers and stuff, and I would ride my bike up and down to see what cars were there because I would know where they were around the county, mm-hmm. what was coming and who was in line already and stuff, and knew who, just because I wanted to know who was there and everything. And you know, my mom still picks on me about it, but it was, I remember one of the first years that I was announcing on Saturday, and we gave the rundown on what the cars were and the past winners and stuff that were out there, and there was one or two cars that were still making their way out. And it caught me off guard. Like, when you look at all these names and all these cars lined up, and it's dark and it's steamy and the dew's starting to get on the cars and everything, and the track was still pretty good at that point. It didn't have the big rut down the middle. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, this is the coolest place to be. on the planet right here. And it was, man. It was an awesome feature. And I mean, it was a really, really good time.
Who won the first feature you announced?
Boy. It wasn't Nick Nicastro.
Nick's only got one win.
And it was on a Wednesday. I don't think he's ever won a Saturday.
No, he won
a Wednesday when I think he had
yellow. It was a yellow fresh 66 because I had a 64, and him and I battled for a long time.
It was parked when the Felbers lived on the corner of Mill Street. It was parked down the road, and I walked down there, I don't know, probably 1, 2, or 60 times, just because it was a Derby car.
Yep.
When we used to have to do errands and stuff in the summer because we were on summer vacation, I would beg whatever. I didn't care if we had to go to Canandaigua. We had to go by the fairgrounds to see what was left. You know, as they were slowly pulling them out.
Sunday morning.
They used to stack them. There'd be a chance, like maybe a Monday or something, the cars would be out of the fairgrounds, and they would be at I think it was Mr. Mull's house.
Yep.
In front of
right
that
across the
garage.
road.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know what that was? Walt Mitchell used to store them there because Walt used to buy cars and haul them home.
Oh, yeah.
And he had permission to store them over there, and then he'd haul them home. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. It was awesome. But I mean,
that was where we started.
That was, yeah. And usually we do this the week after, but I mean, now we've extinguished it, and now we're approaching an hour and a half. But there was 2 other things that were really, really stood out from Seneca County. We talk about safety. We talk about radiators. Actually, we talk about safety, and there's a guy that was dressed head to toe in denim. Like, he had a denim button-up shirt with a denim jacket and denim jeans, and he was making his way back up from the beer tent. And we weren't really sure what he was going to do because he had his hands pretty full, and everything else was pretty full too. You know, he was well on his. He had really caught that hangover early. You know what I mean? and we watched him. I think he ended up falling on top of Jill and Jeremy and that crew, and that's a poor choice in and of itself. But he put the hot dog, wrapped it up in the wax paper, and put the hot dog in his back pocket and sat down.
Nice.
So that's how we got the hand free to stabilize and hold everything. But there's a guy that had a bumper falling off, and he was ready to come out onto the track at Seneca County, and somebody went over to sort of lift the bumper back into place, and when he stood up, his knee went into the fan and it opened his kneecap up.
Oh, yep, that was Mike Adams, and I can't think of the guy's name. He lived up on West Blaine Road, right down the road from Ben's mom. He worked for New York State DOT. Eddie Granger.
Okay.
Eddie Granger. It was Mike Adams in the car and Eddie Granger, yes.
Oh, my God. That was...
Yep. He was the one.
Anytime I was filming and I looked down into a hood, that's all I could think of.
I think Eddie Granger was the one that once put a 6-cylinder in a round back wagon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Because he figured it wouldn't get hot. But
did it get hot?
I got junked.
But we'll do a little bit more of this next week. If you do have results or anything you want to share, send it to me. Send it to me on Facebook. If we missed it, if you want your stuff to be featured, we do talk about this time of year about what's going on here close to home. But if there's something that needs to be featured, by all means, let us know. I remember what that note was. Good Day in Thompson got the win in the stock class. Nope, I don't. I didn't write it down. Colton Newholfen.
Yeah, picked up 2 wins and a Mad Dog.
2 wins and a Mad Dog in
all
one
the
night.
Same car.
Yeah, not a bad effort. Yeah. Not a bad effort at all.
I'm glad to see him back in the Derby world. He's a good kid.
Yep. So that's what that was. Well, I suppose that now that we're at an hour and a half, we can call this one good, and we'll be back again. We'll do some more coverage of Seneca County and what's coming up for Ontario County next Monday, along with whatever else might be on the plate. We look forward to it. That's going to be the end of 407. We'll see everybody next time.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.